Good evening, everyone. Welcome to No Judgment here with Tish Ross, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. If you could, please share this out. We want to reach as many people as possible. As always, this podcast is not about us, not me, not my guests. This is about the Lord and helping others to feel like they are, or to know that they're not alone, that He is always with us. And especially this evening, you are going to hear such a beautiful story, a journey of birth, life, and yes, death by one of my really good friends, Missy. I love her so much, and her daughter, Christina. Before I bring Missy in, I want to read this excerpt out of her book. Missy wrote a book in honor of Christina and to glorify God and how good He is. But I'm going to read this, and we have a big surprise for you that if you stay tuned, you'll find out what it is soon. So I'm going to read this to you. Christina woke up the next morning from a deep sound sleep and said, "They have a band." I was in the adjoining bathroom to our bedroom getting ready for the day when I heard her wake up and exclaim about the band. I walked into the bedroom and asked her more. "They do?" I asked. She looked at me with her pretty dark eyes opened wide with anticipation and shook her head up and down. "What else do they have?" I asked. "People and angels." And she trailed off her sentence. I could tell she was picturing this last item especially. "Big crown," she finally said as she looked over at me. "Is that crown for you, sweetheart?" I asked. "I'm not sure," she said. She felt sure that the Lord would take her to be with Him today. She had asked for a few specific jewelry pieces, which I retrieved from her jewelry box, along with her diamond earrings that she put on each day. She had always attired herself with some sort of bracelet or necklace or earrings. To her, that was just part of getting dressed for the day, as was brushing her teeth. But today she wanted her favorite pieces. She also wanted to have her hair done a certain way today, to greet the Lord when He came to get her. "Would you curl my hair today, Mom?" she said. Her long, dark hair was naturally straight, so when we curled it, it was always a special occasion. "Sure, Ange. What else could I say?" She wanted to get ready to see the King of Kings visit her today. I was glad she felt up to wanting her hair curled. As I finished curling her hair, I saw her looking at one particular part of the room. "Is Jesus here?" I asked. She answered only with an affirmative nod and smile, even though the excruciating pain in her chest never left her. Today, she did what she had done many times now. She was Jesus watching. He was here, and my daughter's contented gaze upon Him brought joy to my heart. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Wow, this book is beautiful, and I've read it and I've put it away. And then when my friend said that would come on and share her story, I got it back out and highlighted and marked some of my favorite parts in the book. The whole book is amazing, but some parts that just touched my heart in a way that you're about to be touched by Missy sharing this story of her beautiful daughter, Christina. So I'm going to bring Missy in. There she is. There's my
Hi,
beautiful friend.
Tish. How are you?
I'm so good, Missy. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on. As always, I love hearing your story. As hard as it is at times to hear, it's almost even as beautiful to hear because of Christina's most special and profound relationship with Jesus. And she shares that with us. And you've shared that with us through this amazing book that you wrote. But I wanted to hear and have you share the story, your journey with all of our friends that are listening today and others that will listen and watch later. So I just want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of childhood you had, and were you raised in church and all the good things?
I was raised in church by two wonderful parents, a very, very blessed life, which put me way ahead of the game, I believe. It was just a very loving Christian household who not just proclaimed to be Christians, but lived it. They didn't even have to tell people they were Christians, and people just knew that they were.
Mm.
So I'm forever thankful for that heritage, and I see that as it has gone on to me and both my kids. Here we go.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's just a blessing to be raised in a Christian home. I know a lot of people don't have that background, but for me, I had it, and it's something that I never, ever, ever take for granted.
Mm. Yes, you are so blessed for that. And I even say that with a little bit of experience. Now, my mom was a prayer warrior. I gained my she passed her prayer warriorness, if that's a word, on to me. I love to pray. It's a privilege. It's an honor to pray for others. And but in terms of being raised in a Christian home, uh, she was our family's prime example of what a Christian woman looks like. My dad knew the Lord. He did. He um, women are just more well, in my home, more emotional, more open about talking about those kind of things. And my parents had grown up in a generation where you just didn't talk about a lot of things, and so the men anyway. But so yes, definitely you are blessed to have a head start for sure. Like you said, a lot of people don't have that opportunity. And the beauty of that is that you shared that opportunity with your daughter and your son, Christina and Samuel, right?
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about um, your pregnancy and all the things. Tell us a little bit about Christina. Well, this is all about Christina and you and your journeys together. But tell us a little bit about your pregnancy and where did you have any difficulties in your pregnancy? And then when she was born, the diagnoses.
I didn't. Yeah, I'll tell you the diagnosis and the prognosis, and then we'll get on to the God things.
Yeah.
So Christina was born May 27th, 1985. All through her pregnancy, I didn't have any problems. As far as I knew, I was going to have a healthy baby girl. When we went in to have her, we found out differently. She was born, um, no hiccups, all was good. Actually, that, the APGAR score that they give them in the operating room, she
Mhm.
had a 9, which is almost perfect. And so we thought everything was just great. The next day is when we found out the heart condition. The doctor came in and said that she had a heart murmur, and that usually where there's one abnormality, there's usually another one. So she called in a cardiologist, and then they scheduled a catheterization. So that's how that got started.
Mm.
We ended up having the catheterization. The bottom line was she ended up having a large VSD, an ASD, and then a PDA that's supposed to close at birth, and hers didn't. But the problem was the big hole, the VSD. So I guess what had happened was when she was in utero, the condition of her heart made her lungs not good. So at birth, she wasn't normally on children, they're able to go ahead and do the surgery, but because her condition was bad, it made her lungs bad. So she would have had to have like a heart and lung transplant.
Mm.
And then should I go on to the 13 days later and just go ahead and get
Yeah,
that diagnosis out of the way?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So she had the heart cath. We were able to bring her home. There's just so many miracles that I can tell you, and I hope that they get the book,
Mm.
or so that they can read just all about it, because there's not enough hours in the day to tell you everything that God
Right.
has done and the miracles along the way. But to get the other diagnosis in, um, 13 days after she was born, we got a letter in the mail from the Child Study Center. And
Mhm.
we thought that that was pretty odd. We were at home adjusting to a newborn who was, um, was diagnosed with the inoperable heart condition. And then we get this thing saying that your child's problem may be a genetic. And it's like, what? And so we made that was over the weekend. It was very disturbing to me. And as a mom, new mom, just not knowing what else is going on with her. So I called the genetics center as soon as they opened on Monday and scheduled an appointment. We ended up taking her in. They said that she had a genetic disorder called trisomy 18.
Mhm.
And we're like, what? I mean, we didn't even know that they had done a genetic test in the hospital. So that was even confusing in itself. And we asked the doctor, why did you even do the test? And then that's when she reiterated, usually where there's one abnormality, as in the heart, there's usually another one. So she was diagnosed with trisomy 18, which is a rare genetic condition. Her prognosis for that is 50% don't even get out of the hospital after birth, as in they don't live in the hospital, they pass, or
Mm.
90% die by their first birthday.
Wow. Okay, that is a lot. I mean, you go from bringing Christina home, and let me ask you this, because I was reading a little bit about trisomy 18, and some babies, I guess at birth, there are birth defects in facial and visible birth defects. Was Christina a perfect baby? I mean, no facial disfigurations or anything like that?
There wasn't. As far as the eating part of it goes, I know the Lord healed her of that because a lot of them have cleft palates, which that's where it just goes straight through. There's a hole in the top of their mouth. Well, her mouth was, if you looked at it, was very, very, very narrow and went all the way. It was like super high, but it wasn't open. So
Mhm.
that allowed her to eat. And then also the Lord, that was one of the first of the Lord healing her, because after the heart cath, she still didn't eat for like 2 days, and they had to gavage her and get food down her for nutrients, because basically from Monday to Thursday, when they did that, she hadn't eaten anything because she couldn't suck, which is another trait.
Mm.
And so they gavaged her. She was feeling better. And then they let us come home on Saturday. Well, when we brought her home on Saturday, obviously you feed a baby. So we tried to feed her, and she would not take any milk.
Mm.
And we're like, oh my gosh, we know if she doesn't take nutrients, she's going to end up back up. Well, my mom and dad had a wonderful evangelist, Durwood Phillips, that they were great friends with. Well, he just happened to be in the area. Him and his wife lived in California, and they always came to our church and surrounding churches and did revivals and stuff. So he was in town, and my mom said, hey, we're going to go eat with Durwood tonight. Would you like for us? Can we stop by and pray for Christina? And it's like, absolutely. So he came over there and laid hands on her. And from there on, that baby ate. The Lord healed her.
Oh my goodness.
I know that was one of the first. And it
So,
went on and on and on until the Lord called her home on January the 28th. It was just a mirror. She just lived such a full life,
mm,
and a life well lived.
and I can tell by the pictures in the book. Uh, she is just so full of life and
Um,
so busy and a prayer warrior herself.
she was.
And I read in the book, which is something that I seek a lot, because I truly do pray for people when I say I'm praying for you, I really am. And I noticed that about Christina, that if she says that she's praying for you, that she is praying for you. You can count on it. And,
Yes.
prayer is powerful. It's a powerful thing. And I long for somebody like Christina, because Christina is someone who was somebody that wouldn't stop until she got, you guys got answers. And so there's a part in the book I want to read, and then I want to move on into uh, the beginnings of her life and as she grew into a teenager. But there's a part in this book that I had reread, and I had reread it because I had highlighted to begin with. But it says, with the experiences that Christina had with Jesus and with her incredible faith, the whole family knew she was the ultimate prayer warrior. She understood the power of prayer at a young age, and she understood the power of praying out loud. They would hear her nightly in the next bedroom praying for anybody she knew had need. When Christina said she was going to pray, you can bet on her standing by her word. And there was a pharmacy that you guys drove through. And you wrote, every month we were back to the pharmacy as usual. Our tech would give us progress reports each time, because this tech's
Granddaughter.
grandbaby had been diagnosed with cancer. And you and Christina had shared with her that you guys would be praying for her grandbaby. And so every month you guys would pull through, and it wasn't the best news, or wasn't happy news. But every month you guys would drive back through the pharmacy as usual, and our tech would give us progress reports each time. When we would pull up to the window, Christina would lean over from the passenger seat and ask her about her granddaughter. Then one time, after several months passed, we heard something had happened. How's your granddaughter? We asked. A bright smile appeared on the tech's face. She's cancer free, she said. Christina and I have never stopped praying for her, I told her. Well, something worked, said the tech. I looked over at Christina, who was sitting in the passenger seat, smiling. She and I both knew God had healed this young girl, and our prayers made a difference. There wasn't a doubt in either of our minds. Only in heaven we will know many of the things accomplished through her prayers. I love that. I can only imagine Christina's smile, how that brought her so much joy from hearing the progress and the answer to prayer, because she was such a prayer warrior. And she's so beautiful. Missy, she looks so much like you. She's so
Thank you.
beautiful. Oh my gosh. I look at the pictures and I think, gosh, look at her. And so to go back, her life seemed so full. She seemed so busy all the time. Tell us a little bit about her as a baby. Were there challenges? I read in the book that when she was pulling up to stand. And so what are the, I guess, possible limitations when a baby or someone is diagnosed with trisomy 18? Are they able to walk, or do they
Mm-mm.
normal, or tell us a little bit about that?
No, they're not supposed to speak. They're not supposed to sit up. They're not supposed to walk. They're not supposed to eat. Most of them have like a tube in their tummy to feed them. And the genetic doctor told us that it was physically, the results are far worse than it's a really bad genetic disorder.
Mm.
Pretty much gave us no hope for her being able to do anything. But she did. She did a lot. So she was a little delayed in some stuff, but I'll take it. She started walking a little bit before she was 2 years old.
Mm.
And boy, could she talk. She talked a lot, and she was happy, and she just was full of life. Just so full of life.
And so how are you taking it? So I want to go back a little bit. So you guys had prepared for a healthy baby. How much did she weigh when she was born? And what were your, if you can remember, I remember when my son was born, and it was a terrible delivery. It was in induction and they had to pull him out with forceps and it was just a nightmare. And I just vowed I'm never having kids again because that was not the beautiful experience that everybody said. Son was beautiful and is beautiful, but the experience it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And I can remember everything after they handed him to me, and it was terrible. So he was beautiful, but it was a terrible experience. So tell me a little bit about, you guys had planned on or had thought that you guys are having this healthy baby girl, and then you find out that she has some issues with her lungs, but she's born without any kind of uh, disfigurement or anything like that. What are you thinking when you guys get this diagnosis? And did you know anything about trisomy 18?
No, we didn't know a thing about it. When we went into the doctor's office, the genetic specialist, she was the only doctor at that time, genetic specialist that served the Fort Worth Denton area.
Mhm.
And so when we got into her, that's when she informed us of all the stuff that Christina would not do according to um, quote science.
Mm.
And that visit was very hard because you go in and you're reeling from everything that they tell you. And I'm sure we had a look on us. We were just 26 and just had our first angel baby that we just have prayed for and just loved. And then the heart and lung condition, and now they're telling us that she's got a genetic issue, and we're like, you know, it was hard to understand. And I guess she was looking at our face. We were stunned. I was in tears, and as was her father. And she just looked at us and she said, you kids won't believe us. You kids are sitting there not believing me now, but when everybody else's children starts talking and yours doesn't, and when everybody else's children starts sitting up and yours doesn't, and when everybody else's kids starts walking and yours doesn't, then you'll believe me. And it's like,
Tough.
wow.
That's
She
hard.
was very direct, to put it mildly.
Mhm. So, what were some of the things that she said that Christina would not do?
Well, most of them, they said she wouldn't talk or walk, which are huge. They didn't give her much hope of being outside of, um, not doing much mentally or physically.
And so you guys go home and you start trying to wrap your brain around all of this. But then Christina there is prayed over, and then she's able to eat. She's able to drink her milk, and then she is pulling up. She's standing. She's walking. Does she start talking and then start eating regular food as she gets older?
She does. She does. And when she's had several miracles because when she was like 3 months, she was very, very sick.
Mm.
And at that time, the doctor actually came to the house. The family came over. The doctor made a house call, and she pulled Mike and I aside and said, "I hope that you have, you're going to prepare a funeral service." And I'm like, "Funeral arrangements?" And we're like, I told her, I said, "We're not going to do that because my baby is not gone. She's still here."
Mhm.
And I just walked off because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not believing what she's saying. But she was super critical, and she was more out than she was in. And we laid on the den floor with her. And the next morning, the doctor called and said, "How is she?" And we're like, "She's all good." So the Lord healed her then. And there was another time when she was 5 years old. Because she had the heart and lung issues, she would become real susceptible to like pneumonia and stuff real quick. So you had to get on it with antibiotics and stuff.
Mhm.
But when she was 5, it got the best of her as well because she had started pre-K, and she was around children that weren't necessarily cared for very well, and so she was subjected to sickness when she'd go to
Mhm.
school, and so she got sick. She went to the hospital. We took her by the doctor first. The doctor said, if you take her immediately to the emergency room, and, if you take her home, she'll die. If you take her to the emergency room, she'll probably die. Again, long story short, the Lord healed her of that. And then that's when she had her first heaven experience
Mhm.
that is about in the book as well. You remember that when
Yeah.
she was 5, and it was months after that, and I was doing her hair, and she said, Mama, you remember the time that I went to heaven? And I was like blown away because I had no idea. And I go, no, baby, I don't. Tell me about it. And she said that she went to heaven and she saw Jesus and Papa, which was my dad, who had passed away not long before that. Several other family members that we knew were there. And she said that she asked, I said, what did you do, Christina? And she said, I fell down and worshiped him. And she just like hit the deck, hit my floor, and put her little head flat on the ground. And she said, I worship him, Mama. She was 5.
Oh my God.
And she said that I said, did Jesus say anything to you? And she said, he said, it's not your time. And Christina said, because Christina wanted to stay. And she says, why don't, first of all, was talking about staying, and she asked Jesus, she said, am I going to stay or whatever? I forget exactly her words, but he says no. And Christina said, why? And then that's when he said, it's not your time. So that was one instance where she saw the Lord during that situation, because her heartbeat, she was semi coma for 2 days in the hospital, from Friday to Monday morning in the night on
Mm.
that one. But he spared her for 23 more years.
That's a miracle. Yes, a miracle. Because like they say, the prognosis is not good. I mean, they either so they say, science says that textbook is they may not make it out of the hospital and definitely not make it to the first birthday. And she lived 28 years.
She did.
And there's a comment here. Hi, my wild home. Thank you for coming in. Thank you guys for joining. Let's see here. Pooch says his cousin's son, Lance, was born as well. Trisomy 18. He too lived beyond the expectancy the doctors gave him as well. He lived a good life up until the age of 17. But Lance was totally incapable of doing anything. Um, Yep, it is a miracle for sure. And so she did she continue to go to pre-K, or was that did you bring her home after that?
No, after that, we took her out of school because the it wasn't going to change there. So she was on a homebound program with school for many, many years, and then she went back when she was in middle school, and
Okay.
she ended up going from middle school to high school. So she had some school experience
Did
in
she
the
like it?
classroom. She did like it.
Mhm.
Oh, she was Miss Social Butterfly. So yeah, she was.
I love that.
Yes.
And I understand from the book that she's hi Cora Phelps. Thanks for coming in. We have a giveaway. We're giving away or Missy is giving away one of these most beautiful books. So stay tuned, and you may get a chance to win this book. But I read in here. Let's see here. Where? This is so cute, and I can hear you saying all of this, Missy. You have the cutest voice. So this chapter, just a little excerpt from this chapter, growing up. It was a warm spring day when Christina, now 13 years old, lined up next to her competitors on the racetrack. She looked at me in the stands with a cheerful smile. I don't know why that just gets to me every time. Woo. With a cheerful smile while waiting for the race to begin. I smiled and waved at her and watched as the race judge began instructions to get ready to start. At the sound of the buzzer, she took off, moving arms and legs with all her might. Go, Christina, go, I yelled. Her skinny, untanned legs extending from her roomy black shorts dashed down the racetrack. Go, Christina, I shouted again, making my way across the stands along the front rail. Her dark hair billowed in the wind, and her clenched fists moved in running rhythm as she passed the other competitors. This child, who was given a year to live, was running the track and winning. Christina's smile was radiant as she stood in the middle of the podium for first place in the Special Olympics. Oh my goodness. So she sounds like she was athletic. She, how exciting was that for you?
It was very, and mind you, that was with a bad heart. She did that.
So beautiful.
That was a
Oh my
fun
goodness.
moment. Yeah.
I bet. Okay, so she goes to school.
Hmm.
Any, and I know that, so was she in and out of the hospital? No, so she was,
No, I told you no, actually from the time she was born to the time she passed, she was in the hospital less than 5 times. For
wow.
her to have been, yeah, for her to have been so critical, she really lived a healthy life. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, yeah.
she got a lot of infections and stuff. But like I said, if you got right on it, the sign of a first cough, got her an antibiotic, she would be good. But as far as hospital stays, I mean, you would think a kid that had been diagnosed with all that would just be in and out all the time, but she wasn't. Very
Wow.
thankful.
Oh my gosh. Hi, T&T Adventures. Hi, Miriam Bimler. You guys stay tuned, stay in, because Missy is giving away one of her books that I have that she wrote. It's called I See You There, Christina, and there's a reason behind that title. It's so beautiful. So you guys are chugging along. Does you guys go to church and she hangs out in church, or what were the activities that she would do? She seems so, like you said, such a social butterfly.
She was. Well, I was a stay-at-home mom, so we stayed at home a whole bunch and loved every minute of it. She would go outside and ride her bike. One of her favorite pastimes was singing and swinging, and we would go to we had a swing set in the back, and it's kind of funny because our neighbor next door, he was a pharmacist, but he made a comment to my mom who lived next door about, he's like, I would be in the backyard and I'd hear Christina just sing into the top of her lungs. And I don't know if he was kind of making fun of it or what. He thought it was kind of cute and was laughing about it. But then we ended up moving away, and he told her, he's like, oh man, he said, I really miss hearing Christina singing.
Oh, I bet.
I
Aw.
got to plug me back in.
Okay. So then how old was Christina when you guys got pregnant with your son?
Christina was 3.5.
3.5. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
then
Oh,
her
she was
baby
three.
brother,
I'm sorry. She was 3.5 when he was born.
she was 3.5 when he was born. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So how did she feel about getting ready to be a big sister? And
Well, she wasn't wild about him at first. She was the first grandchild, so she was not lacking for any attention at all. But it didn't take her long before she fell deeply in love with her brother.
I'm sure. And what about Samuel with his sister, his big sister?
Oh, he loved her.
Oh,
He was her little big sister. He was smaller than, he wasn't smaller than her. He ended up very quickly, by about the age of 5, being the same as her because she was so tiny. So he was her big brother in statute. And so yeah, they had a sweet relationship.
Mm.
She thought Samuel could do no wrong.
Oh, so precious. And yours and Christina's relationship, you guys, since you were stay-at-home mom, you guys are pretty close.
Very.
What did
Yeah.
you guys do special together, Missy? What were some of the regular things that you guys were?
Well, we just one of our favorite little traditions was on Fridays we would always that was our pizza night. And so we would get a pizza wherever we wanted it from. She loved cheese pizza, and every once in a while I have to say we got to get some meat on that, Christina. The cheese is getting old. So we would do that and watch a girl movie, or we would go to the movies with her Aunt Tamara, my sister-in-law slash sister. We did a lot of threesomes, a lot. So she loved to go to the movies and stuff like that. She was a regular kid.
Wow. That's so beautiful to hear.
Yeah.
And so there were another excerpt from the book. I want to know a little bit about, let me tell you, let me see here. Okay, here it is. Well, I'm moving to her card, her Christmas card.
Mm.
It was December 25th of 2013. The Christmas card says, "With love, Mom, at Christmas and always." And inside the Christmas card, it says, "Words could never tell you, Mom, the love that comes your way, not just at special times like this, but each and every day. Merry Christmas." And she wrote in her handwriting, "I see you there, Christina." Did she explain what that meant, or did you ask her what that meant?
I actually brought that card. It's right here.
You did.
It's
Oh,
invaluable, is what
yes,
this is.
yes.
So what came about on this card was my aunts, who are now both in heaven, knew that Christina loved to give gifts for Christmas. And from what the Lord was showing us, we knew that this was going to be her last Christmas. But even at that, Christina always she felt bad. She expressed to me that she feels bad because she wasn't able to get her dad something and me something and her brother something, and they knew that. And so I told my aunt that, and so my aunt, both my aunts came over. They actually went shopping for her and got a few things. So Christina wasn't a part of that, but they brought over like a couple of little bracelets, and then they picked up these what are very cheap little card. And it's not the printed words on it that is important or
Mm,
special. It's this right here. That's the special words. So what happened was they wrapped the presents. This actually was about a month before she passed away. This was in December. And I'd put up a little tree in our bedroom. She stayed in my room,
mhm,
and we had a little tree. And so they put the presents and the cards for us under the tree. And then Christmas morning, my son and Sarah, my daughter-in-law, and my mom and Christina and I were there. And so we had our Christmas. And by now she's not, she's bedbound. So she's in bed, but still very much talking, and, she's very much there.
mhm,
And so we opened our little gifts and stuff. And then it was tradition to where we each opened, like saw what one person gets and then moved to the next and the next. And then it came to me, and I opened the little bracelets. And even though I knew she didn't pick it out, it would have been something that she would have picked out. And it was special because, it was from her.
yes.
And then I opened my card thinking no big deal, because, like, how special can a card be, right? And I opened it up, and it took my breath away. And we all just sat there. just kind of in the moment,
Mm.
obviously tears. But for her to be so, she knew where she was going, and we knew it too, but to actually, I mean, we talked about heaven a whole lot,
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot, and the separation and just who all's up there and how exciting that is to be with Jesus. And she longed for that.
Mm.
But when she wrote that, I see you there, it just kind of really, it, it, I don't even know what to say to this day. I was kind of floored that she had those thoughts to put it in words, even though we had talked about it. But
Yes,
that was all that was on her mind.
that's. I mean, I think about, just I guess any family member or friend, and gosh, that was your precious baby girl, and to think that to receive a card, like you said, it's not the outside of the card, while beautiful, it's the inside that means so much, and it's just so treasured, as I can see, and as I know it would be, but I couldn't imagine receiving a card like that, and my child, or well, my child saying, "I see you there," and knowing that she knew where she was going, but just writing it down. Like you said, it is hard to put in words. I couldn't imagine, and I also read a part in the book that, Christina was saying her goodbyes. She was wanted to say goodbye. She knew where she was going, and she wanted her family and friends to know that she was going getting ready to go home. And there's a part in the book that says, since Tamara and Christina were occupying the headboard, I made my position right next to Christina, lying on the bed by her side. I was able to look her right in the face, and I could tell that she had something heavy on her mind. Mama, she said. Yes, baby. What are you going to do without me? Oh, are you going to be okay? What can you say when your child looks at you and asks you the most grown up questions that anyone has ever asked? I didn't say anything at first. The heaviness in my heart and the tears wouldn't let me. I couldn't fathom losing my child or living without her. This is my precious jewel, my daughter God has entrusted me with for 28 years. How does that just stop? I can't even imagine what life looks like without Christina in it. She wanted to make sure I was going to be okay. And I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to be or how I'm going to make it without her. I don't even want to go there before I have to. I finally pulled my thoughts into cohesive words I could speak to Christina. If Jesus takes you to be with him in heaven, then he will have to take care of Mama here. I don't know how, but he will because he loves us both very much, I told her. I could tell from her face that the simple but truthful words I said convinced her heart he would take care of me. I was saying these words to myself as much as I was to my daughter. It was a statement of faith for me. The words may have been simple, but the enormity of it all was so great. Just the thought of life without her took my breath away. I was still fervently praying that Jesus would heal Christina and that I would not have to deal with the answer to her question. Oh Lord, I trust you. I need you desperately. So many times in life, we don't have a clue how he will do, but I had to stand on his promises to pull me through. Oh my Lord. That is, I can't even imagine. Um, yeah, I know people are, yeah, it's those words are it's so painful, but it's also so beautiful.
That's what I was
And
going to say. It was very painful. At the same time, it was beautiful. Oh my goodness, I've only walked through every day just one time. I mean, you know what I mean? That I have never been here before, and it was my first journey through all of this as well. And there was a lot of a lot of hard, beautiful times. And that was one of them. The Lord is just so faithful, through it all. And I was faced with losing Christina, but that's one aspect. But then another was me living life without her. And it just took my breath away. I didn't know how. I knew the Lord was obviously more than capable, but in my mind and how much I loved her and cared about her and had lived so much life with her, I couldn't see it. The pain was just unbelievable to even think that. And that's why I just mustered up that one deal. It was almost like just a prayer to God. It's like, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know how he's going to do it, but I was confident that if he took her, he loves his mama just as much and he's going to take care of me.
Yes. How blessed Christina was to have you for her mother. Missy, you're such a beautiful soul, and your words to her and your love for her is just such a gift. You can definitely see in your relationship that God knows exactly what he's doing when he gives and blesses us with our children and our children with their parents. And you are the perfect mother for that perfect baby girl. And I have to ask you that there was a time, and I know that you had shared this on my radio show, and but you had mentioned, and I believe I just read it, but there are some people that have just joined, but that every time Christina was going to hope for or know that she was going to have a visit from Jesus, she always wanted to get dressed in her perfect dress and her quote unquote diamonds and have her hair fixed. But my question for you is, how does a mother curl her baby girl's hair knowing that she is getting ready to visit Jesus? How do you do that?
I don't know. You just do what you need to do, and I think you just kind of think of the moment and not the actual time of when she's not here. You're preparing her, is what you're doing. And that one, she felt when she saw him back in that September, and we were confident that he was going to take her home because he showed her so many things. Um, she, where was I fixing to go with that? I'm sorry.
No, well, I was asking, how do you as a mother, how do you do that? And but yet were preparing, like you said, you were preparing her, and she
Yes. Yeah. So there was many times that she thought that she was going to go see him. Um and that's how real it was to her. And we didn't know. I mean, we knew that it could be any day from what he was showing her and stuff, but that particular day she really wanted to get dressed up, and she wanted me to do her hair, and so I just did her hair and went in her room and got her jewelry, her diamonds that she called all of her CZs, and got her all dressed up. She was convinced that that Jesus was going to come home, that was going to come take her that day. As far as I know, he could have. I don't know, but that wasn't her particular day. But you just kind of, that was another one of those hard and beautiful moments
Mhm.
that you just accommodate her, because it was just so cute. She's fixing to go see the King of Kings. It's like she wanted to look her best, just
Mhm.
like you would if you were going to go see a king in a palace. You wouldn't wear your gym shorts or your pajamas, you would get dressed up. So that we did.
I love that about her. Oh my gosh. So tell me about her. Yes, that is true. So God carries us through the darkest times, assuring us that we will see them again. And Cora Phelps says, God's love, unconditional, no matter, and blessed you with a beautiful girl. Yes. I mean, I'm asking you guys to stay in as we get ready to conclude. I want to hear a little bit more about what Missy does now, and I have another question for her. But stay in because you get the chance to. Missy is going to give away one of her books, and then for those of you that may not win the book, we will put a link in for you to be able to order one of the books from Missy. But let me ask you this, Missy. So she also made it a point when she felt that she was getting possibly closer to going home. She wanted to call family members and say goodbye to them. Tell us a little bit about that.
She did once. Again, I don't think we would have enough time we don't have enough time to share everything. They'll just have to read the book.
That's
But
right.
from the time she saw the Lord in that September, she just felt like she knew she was going to go home. The question was when. And so as time went on, months and months, she wanted to call people and tell them bye. I mean, she loved people, especially her family. And I remember she called my nephews, her cousins, Stephen and Daniel, and told them bye. And she called her best friend, Mindy, and told her bye, and several others and stuff. And of course, she said her goodbyes in her cards and stuff that she did for Christmas. That's what we did for Christmas, was got one of those generic cards, and Christina signed them all. And so those were just a valuable gift, I'm sure they have to this day. But yeah, that she wanted to do that several times, and did call people several times. Just she would just pretty much matter of factly, like she wasn't crying or anything. She's just like she wanted to tell them bye and she loved them and she was going to go to heaven, just like
Wow.
we're talking.
And so what did you ever get to hear how that made how that made your family members or her friends feel when she would call and say goodbye?
Um, I would love to, no, not specifically really on that.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, I mean, and it's hard too, because, usually when the Lord shows you something, or when she first saw him, I was called home from work, and Christina had said that she saw the Lord standing by her bed, and that's was the moment that changed everything. And you're like, usually when that happens, you think that death is imminent.
Mhm.
Mm-mm. It was September, October, November, December. It was 5 months later when he took her. So her journey between September and January was um, incredible. And
How beautiful for you guys to witness that.
that's what I was going to say. I feel so blessed, number one, to be her mother.
Yes.
And let's throw Samuel in and Samuel's mom. But I feel so blessed to be her mom and to have a front row seat to that. And other family members got to see that too. And it's just, you just never forget that.
Can't even imagine, Missy. And so, about her brother, how did he take her passing?
Hard.
Mhm,
Yeah, it's a hard deal for him.
mhm.
Uh,
So, what was some of your favorite things about Christina? I'm sure there are many, 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 but what are some of your favorite things about her?
Christina was just so loving. And I could show you my refrigerator right now that I just can't bear to take them down. And I have notes on even though it's been 11 years, they're just still so special. I have thousands, literally, notes from her that I did a notebook. She would get a post-it note, and write, "I love you. You're a great mom. I love you" on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just all kinds of stuff. And she'd just stick notes everywhere. And those were sweet, but she was just so full of life. And she thought she was my biggest fan. She just
Mm,
loved, loved, loved me and thought that I could do no wrong. She
mm,
didn't see really any wrong in anybody. She just loved them. I say, and I've said before, that Christina and my dad are the closest things to Jesus as an example to me on this
mm.
earth.
Wow, how beautiful.
I called her my daily dose of Jesus. She was just so much like him.
Mm,
And her life is so challenging. It's still so challenging to me, and I hope it forever is, because it's to become more like him.
mm,
And when I reread the book, I did a couple of weeks ago, and I like to reread it to, number one, just remember the sweet memories and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to ever forget any details, but I read it not really as a mother. I read it more as just a God story, because there's just so much in it. The Lord, as I have said, is truly so sweet in life and death. And the part that I grasped this time was just his presence.
mm.
She lived and breathed his presence, and it just changed her. And that's a challenging thing for all of us to live in that.
Man, I wished I could have met her. I mean, I'll meet her, when we go to heaven, but I wished she's so beautiful. And then, like I said, her pictures, there is not a picture one in this book where, whether as a baby or as an adult, that she is not smiling. Oh my gosh, big squeezes, big hugs, smiling, so happy with family and her brother Samuel and making faces and just so absolutely beautiful. That is one happy young lady. And so let me ask you this before we do our giveaway. Oh, her birthday celebration, just so beautiful. Let me ask you this. In And I ask everybody this, but in everything, since you were a child yourself, as a teenager, as a young adult, as a mother, and where you are today, who would you say, Missy? Who would you say that you are today? Who's Missy today?
That one has been really hard for me, because my identity has been Christina's mom for so long, and I felt like it's almost like you had a ministry. You know what I mean? I mean, and you cared for this person, because she wasn't, even though she was like other kids, she wasn't. The care was, she never drove, she never dated, and just different stuff like that. So we were just together all the time. Who I am now is, I am I'm a grandmother. That's one thing I'm very proud of.
Mhm.
Um, that's a hard one.
It's tough, isn't it?
It is tough.
Well, I'll tell you, I see what I see just anytime I'm around you. I will say that you are I didn't know Christina, but you are a lot like Christina, Missy, because you exude joy and Christ-like love. And I can even get a text. We text randomly, but a text, and it fills me with joy. And I have a lot of people that text me, but you, Missy, are filled with joy, with the Lord's light and love. You're a very loving person. You are a lot like Christina, and I can see where she got her love for the Lord from. And while our relationships with the Lord are personal, as was hers, and wow, what a just like you said, a glimpse into um, what seeing Jesus was like, or what heaven might be like, that she was so, as much as she loved her family, she was so ready to be with Jesus. That brings me some peace and comfort for sure. But you too are a light. You're a light in this world. And wow, how blessed Christina and Samuel are to have had you, or to have you as a mother. And I'm honored and blessed to be your friend, and to call you my friend. I just love you so much.
I love you.
You're
I love that the Lord brought us together. And the way that he did that was not necessarily under the greatest of situations. It was loss for the both of us, but um I love the way that he did that.
Like you said, he is so sweet. He is so
And I
sweet.
feel like I've known you forever, and I'm just so thankful for the friendship that we have.
Oh my gosh, same. I know. It's a comfort that, and I have a few friends, but it is a comfort that I can't explain. Maybe no, that comes from the Lord. It is that when I'm around you, yes, I feel like I've known you forever. We can just dive right into chatting or laughing or joking, and um, being silly or poking fun, and knowing that we're just having a good time. And I don't know what it is. It's just greatness. I love
It
it. So
feels familiar.
it does.
I
It
love
really
it.
does. I do too. I just love you. Okay. So I know one more question. This might be a little tricky, but before we give the book away, so hang tight, guys. Um, for moms or dads, parents that struggle with living after a child has passed, my husband and I just were asked this question, and or actually I was asked this question on a Christmas streamathon, Christmas in July streamathon, that uh, how do you move on? How do you live without feeling guilty? What kind of advice would you give to someone who has lost their child or a loved one, and they feel guilty about still being alive, about living?
Honestly, I never felt guilty about that. I just had to pick up the pieces of having been left, with something so valuable that was by my side 24/7. And then now she's gone. That's the biggest deal that I had to adjust to.
Mm,
And even now, I miss her deeply, deeply, deeply. Especially, I always wonder if holidays, birthdays, heavenly birthdays, you know what that's like.
mhm,
They're sweet, but they're tough because Christmases, because you just miss that person. You can still, obviously, they don't put a, you don't cancel Christmas or birthdays because they're not here. You still celebrate it, but they're still just missed.
mm,
And I don't know. I just had to really, like, lay on the bed with Christina. Just really had to trust him because um, to help me, because it just felt unbearable, and it felt unbearable for a very, very long time. But just one foot in front of the other. Have your cries, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and just trust in him. And time does help. um you just need to get through the really, really rawness of it, and then I don't know, loss is just hard, but with the story, with her story, it's beautiful in the sense that, and comfort that I'm going to see her again. You know, there's a chapter in the back that we won't go into, but the Lord really hit home when he when I was at the graveside and had heard that scripture all my life about God so loved the world, and it felt so personal to me that day as
Mhm.
I was at her grave. And I'm thinking, not a chance would I give my kid for anybody. The pain is too great. And to realize the price that he paid was for me and for you and for everybody. And to know because of him, that right there is eternal life. This
Mm.
life right here is temporary, but for those who know him, that's the forever life. And it's just my prayer that people who don't know him, that they come to know him so that, you know, they too can live eternally with him. That's
Amen.
where it's all at.
It is, and I could not imagine going through anything, any daily, actually, anything without the Lord. And so I feel that I'm certain that Christina would hope that anybody that is listening, if they don't know the Lord, to seek him. If you don't even know what to ask, uh, you know, ask us, ask a friend, ask a preacher. If you're not even sure about God or who he is or what to believe, or I know that she would want you to find out so that you too can have a personal relationship with him, so that you too can ask him into your life, to come into your life, so that when you get there, we can all celebrate with Christina that we made it. We made it. And yes, at the end of your book, the verse John 3:16, yes, I can understand why it's so personal. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. It goes on that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And like you said, Missy, that's why God is God and Jesus is Jesus, because like you, there is no way that I would ever give my son or my daughter up. There's no way, not for anybody here, not for
Mhm.
anybody here. But yes, look how much God loves us, loves you, like you said,
Yeah.
loves everyone. And boy, what a day that's going to be when we get to go and celebrate.
Yes, it will.
All right. Well, I thank you so much for coming on. We are going to give away one of Missy's books. It's loaded with pictures, beautiful pictures of Christina. And like I said, I just reread, and she is just, oh, there she is on her birthday with you, Missy. It's so precious. She is the perfect little baby, always smiling, so happy, so full of life, singing on the microphone, standing, winning gold in her softball throw. It's just so beautiful.
Can
So,
I say something real quick? So I
absolutely.
had told you earlier, I think you misunderstood me, but I said for anybody that listens, if they haven't read the book, I would love to give them the book, not just one. So if they'll
Oh,
message me their information, I'll get them one out. And if they know of anybody that could benefit from the book, whether whatever anybody's going through, if they have a special need child or any kind of situation or not situation, I'm convinced that it will speak to you wherever you're at, Christian or not. Then please, share the book with them or direct them to the website.
oh my goodness, you're
So,
so precious. I totally misunderstood. So everybody gets a book. It's like
yeah.
Oprah. You get a card. You get a card. How amazing. Okay, so I see everybody that is watching, that has tuned in today, and I can reach out to each one of these friends that is watching today, and I will get their address and I will
Perfect.
send it to you.
That's wonderful.
Everybody here gets
wonderful.
a book. How exciting. Oh, they're all saying, oh, thank you. Wow, you're so sweet. And yes, what a beautiful gift, because you will see how sweet God is, and you will see
Yeah.
how it there are hard times. There are hard times, but how beautiful God is, and he's in the midst of it. And to know Christina is to love her, and that is the truth. I have not even met her, but I feel like I know her through you, Missy, and through this beautiful book that you wrote and that you shared her life with us. So everybody in the chat, I will be in touch with you so that I can get your addresses and get them to Missy so that you too will be blessed with the book. So thank you so much, Missy. I so
Thank you
appreciate
so
you.
much. I appreciate the opportunity. And
Of
it's good to
course.
see you.
Good to see you. I hope I get to see you soon in person. And I love you. I love you. And I hope to talk to you soon. And I know that your message and Christina's message and this testimony will touch whoever listens to it and whoever reads the book as well. So thank you so much for being
That's my
you.
prayer. That's my prayer. I love you too. Have a good night.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Good night. Woo, what a blessing. That was a tough one, but Missy is so beautiful. And thank you guys all so much for joining in. I will get your address and connect with you. Either Pooch or I will get your address so that you two will get a book from Missy. And it is called, again, I See You There, Love, Christina. Isn't that beautiful? Such a beautiful story. Good night, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.